My fiance's affair surfaced just 2 days before our wedding, so I let the ceremony go ahead and made sure every guest knew exactly who he was. My name is Sable. I'm 31. I work as a project coordinator for a construction firm, which basically means I spend my days solving problems other people created. I'm good at it. Calm under pressure, organized, the kind of person who keeps a backup plan for her backup plan. And for 5 years, I thought I'd built the most solid thing in my life, a relationship with a man named Corbin. We met at a friend's housewarming party. He told me I had a laugh that made the whole room lighter. That was his thing. He always knew the right words. We got engaged after 3 years, bought a little fixer-upper house together. I spent weekends ripping out old tile, sanding floors, painting walls. Corbin helped sometimes. Mostly he watched and said things like, "You're amazing, you know that?" I should have noticed that compliments were his way of not participating. My best friend Della was my maid of honor. We'd known each other since college. She was the one I called when Corbin proposed. She screamed so loud my ear rang for an hour. She helped me pick the venue, the flowers, the cake. She was there for every fitting, every tasting, every breakdown. "You sure he's the one?" Della asked me once early on. "Why would you ask that?" "I don't know, just a feeling." "He's great, Della." "Okay, then I'm happy." She dropped it, but I remembered the way she said it, like she was filing it away for later. My dad, Harmon, lived about 2 hours away. Quiet man. Worked in a machine shop for 30 years. After my mom passed when I was 19, he never remarried. He just kept her garden alive and called me every Sunday without fail. "You happy, Sable?" he'd ask every time. "Yeah, Dad, I'm happy." "Good, that's all I need." Sometimes I realize I gave people the answers they wanted instead of the ones that were true. 6 months before the wedding, my boss Renata offered me a transfer. Lead coordinator on a major project in another region. Better title, better money, real career growth. I told Corbin about it over dinner. "That's far," he said. "It's a 2-year assignment. We could make it work." He set his fork down. "We're getting married, Sable. You want to start our life in different places? It's an opportunity." And I'm not? I turned it down the next morning. Told Renata I was committed to staying. She looked at me for a long time and said, "I hope you don't regret that." I said I wouldn't. That same week, Corbin forgot our anniversary dinner. I'd made reservations 2 months in advance. Got a new dress. Sat at the table for 40 minutes before I called him. "Where are you?" "Oh, was that tonight?" "Yeah, Corbin, that was tonight." "I got caught up at work. I'm sorry. I'll make it up to you." He bought me flowers the next day. Sunflowers, my favorite. And I forgave him because that's what I did. I forgave and I adjusted, and I made room for his mistakes while shrinking the space for my own feelings. Corbin's mother, Paulette, never liked me. She smiled at me the way people smile at traffic. She'd make comments at family dinners. "Corbin, honey, you look thin. Is Sable feeding you?" "Sable, that's an interesting color on you. Bold choice." You know, Corbin dated a girl in college who was just the sweetest thing. Corbin never said a word. Not once. He'd just change the subject or laugh it off. "She doesn't mean anything by it," he told me once. "She means every word." "You're being sensitive." I stopped arguing about it. I just started sitting further away from Paulette at dinners. And I noticed something. Corbin never sat closer to me to make up for it. The wedding was set for June 14th. 300 guests, outdoor ceremony. I was wearing my mother's dress, altered, cleaned, preserved. It was the most important thing I owned. When I put it on for the final fitting, Della cried. "Your mom would be so proud," she said. "I hope so." "She would, trust me." I ran my hand down the lace on the sleeve. My mom had sewn small blue beads into the hem, something blue. She'd planned ahead for a daughter she wouldn't live to see get married. 2 weeks before the wedding, things felt off. Corbin was distracted, on his phone more, laughing at texts he wouldn't show me. "Who's that?" I asked one night. "Work group chat. You wouldn't get it. Try me." "Sable, relax." I let it go. I had 100 things on my checklist. Seating charts, final payments, vendor confirmations. I didn't have the energy for another fight. One evening, I came home and found Corbin in the kitchen, freshly showered at 7 in the evening. His hair was still damp. He smelled like a cologne I didn't recognize. "Did you go to the gym?" "Yeah, quick workout after work." His gym bag was by the door. It looked empty. "How was it?" "Good. The usual." I didn't push. I told myself I was imagining things. I told myself that I was stressed about the wedding and projecting. Looking back, I see that I was so focused on building the wedding that I forgot to look at the marriage. Then came June 12th, 2 days before the ceremony. I was at the house, finishing a last coat of paint on the bedroom trim. Corbin was supposed to be at his bachelor party, a low-key dinner with his groomsmen. His laptop was open on the kitchen counter. A notification popped up. I wasn't snooping. I was walking past. The message was from someone named Tessa. It said, "Last night was perfect. I can't stop thinking about you." My hand froze on the paintbrush. I set the brush down, walked over, read the full thread. Months. It had been going on for months. Tessa. I knew that name. She worked at Corbin's company. He'd mentioned her casually. New hire. Kind of quiet. The messages weren't quiet. They were detailed. Plans, photos, promises. And then I found the one that broke me. Tessa had written, "Does she really not know?" Corbin had replied, "She's so busy with the wedding she wouldn't notice if I disappeared for a week." I sat on the kitchen floor for 20 minutes. Didn't cry, didn't scream, just sat there. The paint was drying on the brush. The house smelled like fresh primer and something rotten underneath. I called Della. "I need you to come over." "Now? It's almost 11. Now." She came. I showed her everything. She read the messages in silence. Her face didn't change. When she finished, she set the laptop down carefully, like it might explode. "What are you going to do?" "I don't know yet. Are you calling it off?" I stared at the laptop screen, at 5 years of my life sitting in that glowing rectangle. "No," I said. "I'm not calling it off. Sable, I'm going to let it happen, and then I'm going to make sure every single person in that room knows who he really is." Della didn't argue. She just nodded. "What do you need from me?" "Help me get through the next 48 hours without him seeing it on my face." "Done." "And sew a pocket into the dress, a hidden one, big enough for my phone." She looked at me, then almost smiled. Done. I learned that the hardest thing isn't knowing the truth, it's pretending you don't. The next 2 days were the longest performance of my life. I smiled. I kissed Corbin on the cheek. I confirmed the florist delivery. I picked up the programs from the printer. Corbin was cheerful, relaxed. He had no idea. "You nervous?" he asked the night before. "A little." "Don't be. Tomorrow's going to be perfect." "Yeah," I said. "It really is." I called my dad that night. "Dad? What's wrong?" He always knew, even through the phone. "Nothing. Just wanted to hear your voice." "Sable, talk to me." I almost told him everything, but I didn't want him driving 2 hours in the dark with fury in his chest. "I love you, Dad." "Love you too, sweetheart. See you tomorrow." I hung up and sat in the dark living room of the house Corbin and I had rebuilt together. I'd picked every paint color, laid every tile in the bathroom myself, replaced the kitchen faucet on my own because Corbin said he'd get to it and never did. This house was mine. My hands were in every wall, and now it felt like someone else's crime scene. The morning of the wedding, Della helped me into my mother's dress. She zipped the back and squeezed my shoulders. "You sure about this?" "Completely. He doesn't deserve you." "I know. That's the point." She patted the hidden pocket. "Phone fits perfect." Good. The venue was beautiful. White chairs on green grass, an arch wrapped in jasmine. 300 people who'd taken time out of their lives to witness something that was already dead. Corbin stood at the altar looking handsome and confident. His groomsman Nico patted him on the back. Paulette sat in the front row, dabbing her eyes with a tissue she'd probably been rehearsing with all morning. My dad walked me down the aisle. His arm was steady. His jaw was tight. Halfway down, he leaned over. "You're shaking." "I'm fine." "No, you're not." "Just walk with me, Dad." He did. He handed me off to Corbin, and when Corbin took my hands, I felt nothing. Not anger, not sadness, just a cold, flat nothing. The officiant started, the readings, the standard lines. I stood there watching Corbin's mouth move as he said his vows. Words about loyalty, partnership, honesty, every single one a lie. Then it was my turn. I reached into the hidden pocket Della had sewn into the dress, pulled out my phone, and instead of reading vows, I turned to the guests. "I need to say something." The officiant hesitated. "Ma'am, this will only take a minute." Corbin's smile flickered. "Sable, what are you doing?" I didn't look at him. I looked at the people who loved me. My dad in the front row, Della standing behind me, Corbin's aunt who'd sent us a handwritten card, my coworkers who'd taken the day off. 2 days ago, I said, I found out that Corbin has been having an affair, for months, with a woman named Tessa from his office. The silence was violent. I have the messages. I have the proof. I'm not making this up. I'm not being dramatic. I just thought that if 300 people were going to witness my marriage, they should witness the truth instead. Corbin grabbed my arm. Sable, stop. Don't touch me. He pulled back. Paulette stood up. This is ridiculous. She's lying. My dad stood up too. Didn't say a word, just looked at Paulette. She sat down. Nico, Corbin's best man, stepped forward. Corbin, man, is this true? Corbin's face was red. His mouth opened, closed, opened again. It's not what she's making it sound like. It's exactly what I'm making it sound like, I said. And you know it. Someone in the third row whispered, "Oh my God." A woman in the back stood up and left. Corbin's uncle put his face in his hands. I turned back to the guests. I'm sorry you all came out here for this. I really am. The caterer is still set up. The food is paid for. Please stay and eat. I won't be. I pulled off the engagement ring, set it on the altar, picked up my bouquet, and walked back down that aisle alone. My dad was waiting at the end. He didn't ask a single question. He just put his arm around me and walked me to his truck. We drove in silence for 10 minutes. Then he said, "Your mother would have done the same thing." I finally cried. Sometimes I think strength isn't about how much you can carry. It's about knowing when to set it all down in front of everyone and walk away. The next few weeks were hard. I moved out of the house we'd fixed up together. Della helped me pack. My dad drove down with his truck and loaded boxes without a word. Corbin called 11 times the first day. I didn't answer. He left messages. Sable, please, let me explain. It didn't mean anything. You humiliated me in front of everyone. That last one I saved, because it told me everything. He wasn't sorry he cheated. He was sorry he got caught. Paulette sent me a long email calling me vindictive and unstable. I didn't read past the first line. Della did, though. She said it was impressively delusional. She actually used the phrase, "A good woman would have handled this privately," Della read aloud. A good woman, I repeated. Yeah, because apparently loyalty is your job and honesty is optional for everyone else. Nico reached out a week later. Hey, I just wanted to say, I didn't know. None of us did. I believe you. What he did was garbage. I told him that. Thanks, Nico. For what it's worth, half the guys from the wedding stopped talking to him. I didn't want that. Yeah, well, actions have consequences. He used to say that to other people. Guess it applies to him too. You're going to be fine, Sable. You know that, right? Working on it. I went back to work. Renata, the one who'd offered me the transfer, called me into her office. I heard about the wedding. Small world. The position I offered you before? Something similar just opened up. Are you serious? Dead serious. Interested? Yeah, I am. Good, because I held it for a week hoping you'd say that. I took it. New role, new responsibilities. A reason to get out of bed that had nothing to do with Corbin. My dad started calling more than Sundays. Tuesdays, too. Sometimes Thursdays. You eating? Yes, Dad. Real food? Define real. Something that doesn't come in a wrapper. Sable. I made soup last night. Actual soup. From scratch. That's my girl. Della and I went on a weekend trip. Nothing fancy, just a rental cabin near a lake. We sat on the dock with our feet in the water and she said, "You know what the best part was?"
What?
His face. When you pulled out that phone, he looked like someone unplugged him. I laughed. First real laugh in weeks. You think I was wrong? I asked. For what? Telling the truth? For doing it like that. In front of everyone. Della looked at me. He lied to you in front of everyone. Every dinner, every party, every time he held your hand and smiled at your friends. He lied to all of them too. You just gave them the correction. We sat there for a while. The water lapping against the dock. Birds somewhere in the trees. I gave up that job for him, I said quietly. I know. I tiled that whole bathroom for him. I know. I wore my dead mother's dress to marry him. Della reached over and held my hand. Didn't say anything. Didn't need to. 3 months later, I heard through Nico that Corbin and Tessa had broken up, that Corbin had lost 2 close friends over it, that Paulette was telling people I'd ruined her son's life. I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel satisfied. I just felt done. I was standing in my new apartment one evening, hanging a picture my mom had painted years ago. A small watercolor of a garden. Nothing special, just flowers and light. My phone buzzed. My dad. What are you doing? Hanging Mom's painting. Which one? The garden. Good spot for it? The best. She painted that the summer before you were born. Did I ever tell you that? No, you didn't. She said she wanted to make something beautiful that would last longer than a season. Guess she did. He wasn't talking about the painting. I didn't lose 5 years of my life. I just learned that some things have to fall apart completely before you can see what was never real and what always was. What would you have done? Would you have canceled the wedding quietly? Or would you have let people see the truth the way Sable did? Drop your answer in the comments. And if this story hit you, smash that like button and subscribe so you never miss one. I'll see you in the next one.